Hi, good afternoon, guys. Good evening to you. And we are again here with a new episode of Decoding the Millennial Mariners. And this time is going to be a no guest as we're going to recap what we discussed last time. And it's more important to understand the subject than to discuss the matter over the Insta Live. So it has never been intention to just, discuss and that's it. Hi everyone, thanks for joining. Mariner, Sailor, hi, hi, hi. So I'm going to call upon Debashis and Captain Debashis Basu, who's the owner of NavGuide Solutions, and NavGuide Solutions is practically involved in getting the solutions for these new age learning systems in place. So they're already working with a lot of other countries, and we are trying to bring in this system in India as well into our maritime training education. Hi Ahan, hi hi. So we last time briefly touched upon dopamine, which is a kind of a neurotransmitter chemical which gets released when you are becoming happy. And Devashish also had mentioned last time is addictive a lot. So let me add him and let's hear more about it from him as to how does that addiction affect the learning ability, and as well as how will it support, because the condition is condition, we have something, so how do we make use of it is very important. Hi Devashish,
Hello, sir. Good evening. Good evening.
good evening to you. Good evening, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. You're looking very fresh today.
So
Looking
I,
very nice
I,
today.
I I slept in the afternoon today. Had a good rest
Right.
because
Uh-huh.
morning was a little hectic. I didn't go to Bombay as I planned
Yeah.
because I was not feeling well in the morning. 30 had temperature. So I
Oh,
had two
I see.
crossings and I went to sleep in the afternoon. So it was quite okay now.
Okay.
My voice is a bit distinct, but it's okay. I mean,
Right, right. So
so
you have to be
Devashish,
very careful.
thank you. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, these are the days, these are the times. Hi,
Yeah,
Suvita. Good
yeah.
evening to you. Good evening, Kasi. So here we are, Devashish again. Good evening, Kasi.
Yes,
Good evening to you.
yes.
So here we are again today. We got a lot of youngsters here, and I'm going to rope Kasi also one day, and of course Suvita also will join us on one of the Tuesdays to discuss, as to what she
Right.
feels about it. And
Yeah.
Kasi is studying in Amit, so of course she will definitely be able to throw some light on this. So Devashish, coming back to a last topic of ours, what we're discussing,
Yeah.
Captain Norbert, regarding the a dose of dopamine,
Yeah.
which is very very dear to the youngsters. I mean, even I in that definition, even I would say I'm a youngster because
Yes.
I also have
Same
a
here.
heavy addiction to mobile. I'm telling you, I've got such an addiction to mobile. I mean, okay, fine that you try to think that I'm judicious in opening and and losing. I mean, using that, but नहीं
Hmm.
यार. I mean, नहीं होता है. When I get up in the morning, okay, I don't see for half an hour first, but when I finish my morning rituals, then I take my laptop and mobile both in my balcony and go and sit there. And then the entire social media is there on laptop already spread from LinkedIn to Twitter to
Right.
to the Pinterest to Instagram. All apps are opened up, including
Yeah,
WhatsApp.
right.
And WhatsApp
Right.
really
Right.
really consumes a lot of time of ours. I mean, I have seen, I used to
True.
get up early in the morning earlier, I mean, 2 months back at morning 5, and I used to study from 5 to 7:30, write articles about the economy and things like that, because it requires a lot of studies. And even when I was
Right.
taking IIM classes, I used to study for 3 4 hours at least a day,
I
about
see. I
multimodal and
see.
logistics and warehousing law and things like that. So I had to
Okay.
do a lot of
Okay.
study myself. But somehow
Right.
I have found myself also, whenever I go onto this social media and I don't find the right stuff there. Right stuff is what? Again, the things that I
Yeah.
want to see. Yeah. I want to see the
Right.
likes, I want to
Right.
see the
Right.
followers, I want to see the somebody whom I replied back. When that happens,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
when that happens, I have to immediately go on to the work and do some work. And again, after 10,
Right.
15 minutes, I'll come back to the again open the WhatsApp on the laptop and see. whether Hurry, the person is replied or not. I mean, so what
True,
is it? I mean,
true, true.
how does this work? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, this is a very interesting topic, and I believe it is very pertinent and relevant to today's. We should be discussing this more often. Drawing a reference from last time that we were talking about what you just said, that addiction to phones in general. Now, when 15, let's say 12, 15 years back, phones literally came into everyone's hands. At that time, we could not really understand what would be the implication or how it will change our minds. And when we talk about addiction to phones or addiction to dopamine in general, because the phone addiction to a large extent is because of this chemical which we are discussing today. So when we talk about that, we are not just talking about the young generation. Like you said, you, me, all of us have had that burst of happiness when we get a message or a appreciation on social media, or when you see that someone. I mean, you all also have the other side, the trauma of being unfriended, that the trauma of being someone has seen your message, but someone very important, you expect him to reply, but he's just not replying for many hours, or is just not. So the thing is that it takes us through a very small, I mean, on a daily basis, even on an hourly basis, it takes us through a sine curve of happiness and sorrow, so that every time you go up to a sort of every time you're checking out your Instagram, or you have seen that someone very important has replied or liked your messages, or these kind of things are drugs. They act like drugs for our brain, because actually they release that hormone called dopamine, and this is the implications go way beyond our generation, or because even my dad, my father, or so many other people of the older generation and also the younger generation is hooked on to this. Now, the difference is we can we can think of this as something new because we have seen it coming over the last 15 years. We have seen it coming. Think of the person or a young guy who's joining the ship, maybe 18 years, 20 years of age, and he has grown up with the mobile phone. For him, this is nothing new. It is nothing to talk about. Nothing new. This daily and hourly dose of happiness, or what they like really need as like it's an addiction, like a drug. There is no doubt on this fact. People can like it or they can dislike it, but it is a proven fact today. It is proven by many researchers around the world that the addiction to phone is no less than the addiction to any other drug like heroin or cocaine. So it gives you to that extent. So,
Correct.
and today we have such centers where if you go there, they will take away your phone first of all. That is the first thing they will do. Then you can stay there for 7 days or 10 days, clarify your mind, and flush out your thoughts and all that. But the first thing they do is take away your phone, because if you are allowed your phone, you are. And also we can see this in every industry, including the shipping industry, that let's say on a ship, ships which have internet especially, the moment the person is free, he is rushing to his phone. Nowadays, like you said, that when you were master, you used to ask everyone to come to the smoke room. I would really be, I mean, probably our viewers can comment on this, that very few people are actually coming down to the smoke room nowadays. Maybe one or two
True.
people. Everyone
Very
is in
true.
their cabins, but they are getting entertained on a hourly and minute by minute basis. Everything, every small thing, and this is and of course it has some negative effects on us. It has made us detached from different people and our friends in a lot of ways. Nowadays, if you can actually, you can I mean, that need of going and meeting someone or having a chat or sitting with someone for a cup of coffee, that need has sort of come down. But when we were studying this in trying to modify the maritime education to suit the young generation, we also found that there is a lot of benefits. Not, I would not say benefits. It's like a lot of ways we can use this to our advantage.
No, but my question is
Yeah.
decidedly negative in this point in time. Suppose now somebody is like, my son, suppose, I mean, I always see the things from my house
Yeah.
because, when
Yes.
they are so
Yeah. Yeah.
addicted to phone, when you tell them or when you disturb them rather in their language, when he's probably receiving the dopamine,
Nice.
when you
Yeah.
disturb him,
God.
they do get irritated.
Yeah.
They get
Yes. Yes.
irritated.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
master like me
Yeah.
today joins a chef and tells people to come to smoke room and lose
Yeah.
their me time and say, come to
Yes.
smoke room from 7 to 8, otherwise you'll get extra work for tomorrow onwards. And people do come for the fear of work,
Yeah.
but they are reluctant. So he is not
True. True.
engaged. Like, I always make my
Absolutely.
children sit and give them some gyan of half an hour a day, and I won't just chit chat or talk about their studies and things like that. They don't like it
Right.
because
Right.
they say, okay, have you done? Are you done, Baba? Can we
Uh,
go? I mean, are you done? So
yeah.
this anxiety, what I'm trying to say,
Yeah.
ki what
Yeah.
happens
Yeah.
when you don't really, uh, supplement them with this dopamine or disturb them rather, then the
Yeah.
behavior
Yeah.
could be opposite. The attention span could be even lesser. The mistakes could be even
True.
graver.
True.
I mean, that kind of thing.
I mean, we should not make a mistake thinking that when they're hooked onto their phones, they're very, focused on something all the time. It is not necessary that, see, the phone is a gadget which can be used for good or bad. Okay. So it is not like anyone on the phone is just wasting their time. At the same time, it doesn't mean that someone is looking at the phone in a very concentrated manner doesn't mean that he is actually thinking something concrete or something very concentrated. Maybe he is getting, when you scroll through your Facebook feed, just an example, when you scroll through your Facebook feed, you are getting one advertisement which is of some other news and someone has posted some what he has cooked or she has cooked at home. The next one is of someone patting the dog or something, and then the next one. So you're getting a mixed kind of information. There is nothing is really in. You're not reading one. It's not like reading a book that you are on the same topic, or it's not like being engaged. Now, there are ways to use your phone, which I'm sure you are also doing that to learn things, to learn new things, and to get engaged. In that case, there may be times when you're engaged with one particular topic for 1 hour or 2 hours, maybe more. So in those cases, so there are different ways to use it, but yeah, uh, there are actually even without our knowledge, almost every advertisement company is using this against us. I mean, to manipulate us in many ways, our dopamine addiction, and so many other ways this addiction is being, it is coming out today. And when you talk about maritime training, the kind of training which we even have today, that you have to, like you said very correctly, that if you call your kids to sit with you for half an hour, they're bored or they want to run away somewhere else. Now, think about a person who has gone and he has to carry out a training for, let's say, 40 minutes. That training, if it is not engaging, if it is not hooking him or her on at a minute by minute level, I mean, we should not even imagine that, like, let's say you make a video or you make a content which is half an hour long, already you have passed the patience level of the person, so it doesn't work. So you have to create content which is useful on one side, which will be created with a lot of effort and a lot of research, but that is not enough. On the other side, it also has to be entertaining, and entertaining to them, not like, entertaining to the younger generation on a almost on a minute by minute basis. So they have to have something engaging to do. There are a lot of other ways we can
But
use it.
but isn't it a
Yeah,
isn't it a universal kind of phenomenon? Because why what I observed, I tell you, I mean,
it
when I
is.
discuss with them every day about their
Yes, yes.
studies and what's happening in their college and online schools and things like that, I
Right,
I do ask them about Naruto and things like that, which the things they like very much, you know.
right,
So
right, right.
I tell them something that yeah, I didn't understand this something I saw yesterday, and then suddenly they will come with a jolt of talking which they're feeling bored all the time, oh yeah, oh no, it's going on, chemistry is fine, physics is okay, and then suddenly I ask them a question about some cartoon. Naruto and all
Huh.
that, then they suddenly jump up and say, Baba, it is not like that. It is like this, it is like this,
See,
like
that
this.
is
So,
correct, correct, correct,
they
correct.
immediately they come on to that kind of most lacking subject. But I think
Yeah, yeah,
what I think is that this is universal. What
it
is
is. Of
that
course.
peculiarity in this generation? Apart from addiction to this dopamine, you
Yeah,
know, which can lead to the negative effects. Because when I was reading that book on the millennials, I was also reading about this, and I saw a very relevant paragraph there, which said that if they don't see, like you said recently just now, the person whom you like or whom you love probably doesn't reply, or is not replying promptly to you, then you feel not distressed, but you feel anxious first, and then the
yes,
anxiety
yes.
grows
Anxious.
in you,
Yes,
and
yes,
that can really get into depression, because these people then, because that fellow was trying to connect the dopamine, social media, to the depressions. You know,
yes.
I mean,
Okay.
the state of mind that you get from social media usage, and
Yeah,
if you stop that suddenly, or it doesn't happen as per your wish, then it can get into a depression, and that even can
very
be
true.
linked today to a mental
Huh?
wellness on board. Because today, I mean, our time there was no news was good news, so that kind of a situation we had, telex messages and things like
Right,
that.
right,
But today, if
right,
the
right,
if the
right.
if the AB tells his wife on phone, he send me a mail tomorrow morning with this, and
Yeah,
the next day you find him on the bridge, and sir, mera mail aaya kya? And you say no, mail has not come. Then again he come in the afternoon, then second officers watch and say, sir, मेरा कुछ mail आया क्या? नहीं,
yeah.
कनेक्शन नहीं किया, बाद में करेंगे. Again, 2 o'clock
True,
he'll come, check tea time, and sir, मेरा mail आया क्या? See,
true.
his anxiety is growing, and that can
Yeah,
be
yeah.
really a problem of mental, kind of a well-being or mental state on board
Right.
vessel.
Yeah, very true,
What do
very
you
true.
think?
Because we are absolutely a slave of the social media in a lot of ways today, and most of us are. Some of us are. I mean, some people are not, but most of us, I would say, if you, because you know that the person can reach out to you at any given time, whether you are on board ashore, like we used to wait for. One port after the other to get letters, handwritten letters, and the person who used to get the maximum letters was like a hero on board, like a
Yeah,
triumphant hero. Yeah, must be you then. I mean, I can understand, but
I used to always get 25 plus letters in each port. And
whoa, see,
my first
yeah,
job was to take those letters and run to toilet. I used to run to toilet and
right.
sit down there and read them. Nobody would disturb. And I would read everything for the next 1 hour. It was damn good experience. It
True,
was,
it was a celebration. It was a celebration
yeah,
because to get a letter after 15, 20 days at sea, it was like
absolutely.
a some different level of joy. And that was also that time, that was also dopamine. That was also the same rewarding drug. It was a sense of reward which we got. The only thing that
The
the effect
frequency
hasn't, the
the
frequency has
frequency
changed.
wasn't so quick, to get addicted to
Exactly.
it. I mean, if you drink if you
Now,
drink or
yeah,
gamble once in a month, probably you won't get addicted to it. You gamble every
exactly,
day and drink
exactly,
every day, you are done with it. Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
you're going to.
and
Oh
and
yeah,
that is the perfect example, right? Like you said, gambling is why is it addictive? Because every time you win, you have a jolt of that drug, that neurotransmitter dopamine in your brain. It is telling you that yeah, you can win more. And if you
oh
start from 100 rupees and then you go to 200 rupees, but you then fall to 150 rupees, you then think that I have to get back that 50. I was on 200. I should get back up to 200. But when you go to 200, then you want to reach 400. Now I am on a. So it is that is the drug that releases in your brain during gambling. The drug that releases during alcohol consumption is the same drug which releases in your brain when you are hooked onto your mobile phones. And that is this is a proven fact. It is not a like a debatable or anything. So this is the same drug called
तो
dopamine
क्या
and
तो क्या
neurotransmitter.
करना चाहिए
now
इसके लिए?
now क्या करना
हाँ,
चाहिए के लिए अभी right now what I mean, there are two things that we have to associate now. For the young generation, like I said, the phone is a tool which gives you continuous like entertainment. Continuous, you are hooked onto. It's an addictive tool. So Uh, can you just, yeah. So what I mean, there is another thing I must link to, that is, it's a concept called classical conditioning. Now, classical conditioning, what is classical conditioning? Now, if I show you this pen, for example, okay, and I say that if you see this pen, you will get scared. You will probably laugh it out. Okay. So what is classical conditioning? If I associate the pen with a scared memory that you have for enough number of times, uh, and then if I remove the scared memory and I show you the pen now has become your memory. You know, it will bring the same kind of fear inside you, which that scared memory would have brought up. Now, this was a famous experiment done by Ivan Pavlov in 1927. What he did is, uh, he had, his experiment was on dogs. Now he used to give the dogs the food, and as soon as the dogs were given the food, they used to salivate. That is normal. This is a subconscious reaction. If you see food, you salivate. The saliva will automatically come out. So now what he started doing is, when he was giving the food, he used to ring a bell. Now every time he's giving the food and ringing a bell, and the dog is salivating with the sound of the bell and with the smell of the food. After some time, he removed the food and only sounded the bell. The dog
Oh,
is still
yeah.
salivating.
Correct, correct.
So what has happened is the sound of the bell has been associated with, being a indication of food. So what I'm
Correct,
trying
correct.
to get to is, and this we can see in our daily lives also. Like, let's say, apparently sometimes we feel that two things do not have a direct connection. So for example, I'll give you an example. Let's say in your house, there can be a place where when you sit there and you have a cup of coffee, you feel relaxed.
Yep.
In other places, it may not happen in other places, but there you know that this is my place of relaxation, or this is my place of concentration. If I have to read something, I have to be here.
True,
I
true,
cannot
true.
concentrate when I'm on my bed. Now the bed has got nothing to do with your concentration. But what has happened is, you have been there so many times and you have done some concentrated work, so that place has associated itself with your concentration. This is called classical conditioning. A very famous use of classical conditioning was done by Marlboro. This is called the Philip Morris campaign. You can Google it sometime. One of the most famous campaigns in the history of advertisements. So what happened in 1954? Marlboro started advertising using the Macho Man. You must have seen the Marlboro
Yeah,
Macho
yeah,
Man.
right.
He's
And the jeans
smoking a
jacket and
cigarette.
jeans pant. Yeah,
Exactly. And he's riding a horse and he's like doing such
true,
manly
true.
things.
Cowboy
So,
hat and all that. Yeah.
yeah. So Marlboro at that time was a relatively small company. So they used to advertise this. After a couple of years, the TVs banned, all advertisement related to smoking. You cannot show a person smoking on screen. That was the rule. So during that time, all the other cigarette companies had no idea how to advertise. But what Marlboro did, they simply removed the cigarette from the ad. And they showed the same man going on a horse and with a Marlboro logo. So Marlboro was the only brand selling, and everyone used to think that being like smoking is a sign of macho, being macho, because there was no smoke in the ad. But like I like, even in India, when you see this McDowell's Premium Club Soda, what do you
Yeah,
think?
yeah, yeah.
You
True,
you
true,
don't
true.
think of club soda, right? They are saying club soda because they cannot say alcohol, but you associate McDowell's with it. So what I'm saying is, classical conditioning is when you have become conditioned to a certain instrument with a feeling. Apparently, this instrument is not related to the feeling, but due to some connections, you have associated this instrument to the feeling. So now my point is, for the young generation, the phone is associated with a feeling of happiness, of a feeling of dopamine, of a feeling of addiction. Now, I for
And also
a
it is easily available. I mean, I was coming to that point of
yeah,
one, like there could be many sources of dopamine. Okay, I mean, could be a
correct,
person you meet. Like I met my friend 2 days back, childhood friend.
yes,
I mean,
yes,
I was so overwhelmed. I was so overwhelmed. Like, I was almost in tears. Like, my God, how did I meet him? I mean, You know, that kind of thing. Like my wife met a friend also, that lady came home
Right.
other day from
Uh-huh.
Bombay, and they've been like, school together and college together now. She was so
Yeah.
happy initially, you know. So what I'm trying to
Right.
say,
Right. Right.
there could be various sources of dopamine,
Yes.
and easier source, which is
Yeah.
in your hand, 24/7. Even
Correct.
go to toilet, you
Correct.
carry the phone with you.
Correct.
So
Correct.
so that can be a very greater source of addiction. Like casino,
Yes.
you would go sometime once in a month, okay, twice a
True.
month, maybe once a week.
True.
You might go
Yeah.
drink. You might have on a
Yeah.
Saturday, Sunday, or a weekend, or when the friends get
Yes.
together. You could be
Yeah.
3 times a week. Or food for that matter. Food is the kind of addiction people have,
Yeah.
and so even food also. I mean, food you every day, but sometimes the
Yeah.
food you have only pasta. Like if pasta is made, our whole house goes gaga about it, because they all love pasta. I mean, white sauce
Right. Right.
pasta. So it's like
Yeah. Yeah.
so things like that. So I'm saying the
Yeah.
addiction which is easier to get, which is easier to get at. If the
Yes.
phone is in your hand 24/7, you sleep with the phone under the pillow or next to the pillow or next to the table on your bed when
Yeah.
near to bed. So it's more of an addiction to
And
that.
and not only that, if today we think that because I mean there is a some people might think that okay, if we talk about it enough about the bad effects of dopamine, it will suddenly somehow go away. This is a, many people might think it, but it is not going to go away because it is already too late. The parents have already started giving mobile phones to the kids to keep them quiet. Now, this effect itself, I would say, if you, I mean, there was a lady in my gym when I mean I used to go to the gym before, and now because of COVID and all that, it is not there. But so the lady used to come with his son, so his son was like 5 or 4 year old. So we used to always think that how the son is, I mean, the son actually used to sit very quietly in one corner with his mobile phone playing some games and all that. And the lady used to do her things. And so we used to be very like pleased with the son that he is so peaceful and he's not. Now, one day the battery of the mobile died, and the guy, he almost tore apart the gym and he ran from one side to other side. Everyone was going crazy. So finally, the lady had to take her home. So what I'm saying is, the parents have started giving dopamine addiction to the kids as well. So it is already too late for us to say that it is going to go away. Now we have to think how to use it. Now we have to think that our next generation, after 10 years, the people, the guys and girls who are today in junior ranks would be sitting in our positions, and they will be deciding, they will be taking the calls. And for them, this is nothing new. They will mold their systems to use it. Now, that's why, I mean, I personally also, I do not want to categorize as bad or good. It does have its bad effects, but also it can be used for a lot of, in a good manner, in the sense that one very important point, and this is probably the most important point I want to make for at least today's session, is that training, maritime training, has to be on your mobile phone. There is no other option. You make your training for your mobile phone, make it portrait mode, or even if you want landscape, whatever, it has to come to your hands. If it doesn't, because the mobile phone is associated, as I said about classical conditioning, it is associated with a feeling of interesting things. So if you make it on a computer, or if you make it in text format, like a book or a circular or a PSC, a circular which you need to read or something, immediately you have the disconnect from the young generation. They are doing it, but they are doing it because they have to do it. Like I had to study history. Okay, I hated history. The moment I used to open history book, I used to fall asleep like that. So it was just like I was classically conditioned that history book means sleep. So
Sleeping pill, yeah.
yeah, sleeping pills. So for me, it was very difficult. But I had to do because I had to pass my exams, and there is a big difference between what you are doing because you have to do it and what you're doing out of interest. So if we can customize our training systems, this is a very important thing that we have been at NavGuide Solutions. Also, we have been working very hard for it. Everything should be mobile compatible to your mobile. Even if you have it on the desktop or any other device, you should be able to bring it to the mobile, and it should look good. It should be attractive over there. It should have colors and
But
Those
won't it have a different effect? Like, suppose now the generations which are now, say 60 plus are telling
right.
everyone that the mobile, like just now somebody, I think the Kasi made a comment that, the mobile is the biggest dushman. Okay. So those sentiments like this
Correct.
are already growing in the youngsters ki yaar isko dur rakho. Like somebody came on the other day on the
Yeah.
YouTube, I mean on the Instagram and said कि मेरे लिए mobile सब कुछ है. Like मेरा पूरा mobile ही है, you know. And somebody
Lot
said
of
that कि
businesses
यार
are running
don't
on mobile.
don't look
Yeah.
at mobile when you get up. I mean, people give different kind of gyan.
No,
You know what I mean?
no.
That gyan is there.
Correct, correct. I mean, there can be different people. I mean, there can be exceptions in every generation. Even in our generation, there are exceptions like they don't want to use the mobile phone, which is great, which is fine. But I mean, today, for example, if you want to do banking, your bank is sending a SMS on your mobile phone. So it is sort of accepted that a normal person would have his mobile phone or use his mobile phone, and more it goes. I mean, after 10 years down the line, 5 years down the line, the discussion about whether it is good or bad will be sort of irrelevant because, there might also be some, I mean, like I said, that there is always an opinion which is that mobiles are bad, and definitely mobile has a bad effect. But mobile is an instrument. It can't talk to you. It can't behave for you. It's your behavior that matters. So if you use the mobile phone in a good manner, let's say if we can, coming back to the training aspect also, if we can generate our training materials for the mobile in a very engaging fashion, we are
Correct.
doing two things here.
Correct.
So one side we are creating very engaging content. It cannot be substandard content or amateurish content. One side is that. The other thing is we are making it interesting for the young millennial generation. That is, I think this has to go hand in hand if we have to get that
Yeah, this has to
effectiveness out of
correlate.
things.
This has to correlate, and then we have to. I mean, probably tell people mobile is not bad at all. Mobile is good if it is used for the concentrated focus time in a day instead of using 24/7. That you're sleeping with the mobile, getting with the mobile night time. Even sometimes when I get up at night at 1 o'clock. Yesterday night got up at night 1 o'clock. I was seeing, hey, कौन है live Instagram में and all that क्या कर रहा है.
Right,
So
right,
I
right,
mean,
right, right.
it becomes a bloody. I really felt so bad after that. After seeing those people
Yeah.
faces talking on the on some rubbish, whatever it is. But I felt so bad, and I said, yeah, what am I getting engaged to? I mean, this is not the my intelligence level is. So I immediately put that thing off and put it on charge, maybe 5 meters away, compass safe distance, kind of thing. So
Right, right, right,
so what I'm
right.
going to say is we have to tell people as to okay, you watch the mobile 3 hours a day, 2 hours a day, or this time. So, I
No,
mean,
no,
what I'm
it is
saying,
not. I mean, I would rather say that it would be a very person specific thing that, like, let's say a person is watching something very useful and he is building my whole business. My whole business is built on various inputs from YouTube and from mobile. So there are some fantastic things that you can do using guidances from the mobile, and mobile itself is not. So even if a person is, I would not say that like a 24-hour hooked onto the mobile without having any other life outside of the mobile. That definitely is not expected. But uh, like at the same time, some people even for 2 hours, if they are concentrating on the mobile, their mind can go very like they might be hooking on to such content on the mobile which is making them disturbed. They are losing sleep. Many youngsters are losing sleep because of this.
yes,
Mobile phones in the recent ones have come with this night mode where your screen is a little yellowish in color.
yeah,
But
yeah,
usual blue color of the screen is very bad, and it had actually they had conducted research on it that it had effect on your sleep, effect on your mental well-being, and it might even make you see dreams at night, which is not expected. So it's
right.
all in the way how you use it. That use part is very important, and I believe that after. I mean, eventually people will learn how to use it to their advantage, instead of using it to.
So good idea. Now since you have spoken this about this content, so let's talk about content next time as to what kind of
Yes,
content should it have. Even
sure.
the app, even the mobile learning apps, even suppose you want to generate, I mean, there are already apps people have developed already, and
Sure.
there
Sure.
could be animation apps also. There are animated movies
Yeah.
also coming out, safety movies and things like that. But more interesting, I think. So let's talk next time about that
Yeah.
content part of it, at
Absolutely.
least, and we'll
Brilliant.
get one of the youngster boys next time who
Sure.
would really, also we pick his brain as to understanding what he likes to learn, because he must be in his 25 now, 22, 25,
Okay.
so
Okay.
we'll get that fellow on board. I already told him. An idea is to,
Right.
ask him as to, what he likes to learn. As a young
Yeah.
mariner,
Yeah.
how do you want to learn? Suppose we want to teach you
Yeah.
safe mooring practices. Simple.
Correct.
Safe, Chicana has safe mooring practices.
Very
I've
true.
I've done umpteen number of classes on safe mooring practices. I mean, I've
Yes.
taken umpteen
Yes.
number of classes of cadets and everybody. And you
Yeah.
want me to take a whiteboard and draw, mooring winch and mooring station and bollard position and the Panama fairleads and roller fairleads and and the station requirement of 4+2+2, and how are you going to perform now? Is it
Yeah.
is easy? Does he wants to learn on a blackboard, or does he want a narrative video, or he wants a
Correct.
kind of somebody telling him, "Ki, "Arey, listen to me." What happened in my time was a chief officer, a storytelling kind of thing, or
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
could be
Yeah.
the content? We can find it
Correct.
out from
Correct.
the
We will
young boy
discuss about
next
that.
time.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
Sure. Sure.
I
Sure.
think
This
I
is
think we'll
what.
close
Yeah.
here. 35 minutes
Yes.
already, and then
Absolutely. Correct.
yeah. So it was a great
Very
talking to you,
nice.
Devashish, and
Yeah. Likewise, sir.
yeah,
Always
dopamine
a pleasure.
is a really, I mean, it's affecting me. I mean, I'm not a millennial generation guy,
Yeah.
but
It's affecting everyone.
yes,
Everyone.
it's affecting me very badly. And I'm somebody that day was talking about it, and who uses in my house today. We
Yeah.
all have mobiles. All six of us have mobile phones, but the maximum use of mobile is done by my father-in-law. Number two
Yeah.
is me. Number three is my
Yeah.
wife, and number four is my kids. Okay.
Ah,
The
they are
phone
number
might look
four.
in their
Wow.
phone might look in their hand 24/7, but we have the screens on. Like my father-in-law has the
Okay.
screen on. Like he always
Right.
watching a YouTube or news or something or the other,
Sure.
or some bhajan or some kind of a preaching or some religious programs and things like that.
Right.
So
Right.
so
Right.
it
Right.
is affecting a lot of people, but what content we must develop and what content we should have,
Exactly.
that we'll discuss
Exactly.
next time. Yeah.
We'll discuss.
Thank you very much. I'll just do a closing
Thank
remark
you.
after you leave. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thanks.
sir. Thank you, sir.
So this is how it was, guys. Thank you very much for joining. And we had about some 120 views, something like that, on this show. And idea was to discuss about the dopamine. And next time it will be very interesting, because I'm going to open one young lad, who also been preaching on the Instagram, and keep his name secret. So let's see. And idea is to understand the content part of it. Debashis has been really great, and Navguide is doing absolutely great job about developing this content. So let's take a cue from that next time, and join us again at 5 p.m. on next Tuesday. Thank you very much. Good evening. Bye bye.